As our first match of the stream today is going to be featuring the red Terran player in the bottom left-hand side. This is Bunny taking on the blue Protoss player in the top right from Dragon Phoenix Gaming. It's PartinG. Excuse the slight momentary pause as I turn the health bars on. So a couple of things about this. First of all, hello YouTube. I'm probably going to put some of these matches from today on YouTube. That's kind of why I'm casting them. Otherwise, I would probably have taken a day off streaming in general. So hello YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and like. We are trudging along to 30,000 subs. We're like 800 away, but we're getting like 20 a day. So it's been a bit of a grind. So if you're watching out there and you watch the videos frequently and you don't already subscribe, consider hitting that button. Otherwise, though, this is a set of games from the Into the Alpha X Super Series, I want to say. I don't know which one. Like, Alpha X have so many tournaments. It's from one of the Alpha X events. So yeah, this is just a best of 5. This is a 4-player invitational. The other players in this invitational are TY and Ragnarok. And like I say, I'll probably be on YouTube at least uploading the best of these matches. Hopefully some of them at least are good. And obviously on Twitch, we're going to cast through all 3 of these matches, the 2 best of 5 semis and then the best of 7 finals. So that's the plan. And the other really cool thing about this is you might be like, what is this map? Well, this is one of the new maps, Jagannatha. So we've actually got the new maps being played in this. I'm not sure if they force the new maps or if they've only got... I don't know, like, what the situation is. I just know that this first map, it's a good thing they started on a new map, because if they didn't start on a new map, I would have been like, huh? Like, wait, all of a sudden after game 2, I'd be like, wait, there's new maps. But no, this is new maps. I don't know if they're going to, like, force the new maps as, like, maps 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then 5th map gets vetoed or decided on or something, like, if it goes to map 5. I don't know how this works. This isn't my tournament. I just bought the replays. So, I just bought the replays and, you know, spent my hard-earned dollar bills. So, if someone has a Prime Gaming sub out there to drop on the channel, then... you know, you can be officially the sponsor of today's stream because you will have effectively bought the replays for me. So, whoever's got that Prime sub, you can be today's stream sponsor, basically. I mean, if that ain't a deal and a half, I don't know what is. But yes, a couple of probes, these two kind of chasing very far out. A little mistake from PartinG early. Bunny, a very fun TVP player. You know, everyone knows PartinG, everybody loves PartinG. We don't need to talk much about PartinG. But Bunny, I just want to do a little intro on him before we talk about the map, because... especially to the YouTube channel, it's somebody we don't cast all of the time. We cast him a lot on the Twitch stream and so on, but he doesn't make it to the YouTube a lot, especially. And he's just like a very good player, but a player that's not, you know, not top of the top, isn't like the most popular. But he comes out with some very fun builds. He loves like Cloaked Widow Mine drops. He's been Thor rushing lately. He's always a fun player to watch. He's always competitive with the top of Korea. Excited to see how much he can push PartinG here today. And then I actually do want to quickly talk about this map as well. We also have a bit of love coming in, guys. I'll get to you in a moment. But first of all, this Adept gets 2 SCV kills. So this map is one of the maps with the acceleration zones. And I really like these acceleration zones. They're strategically positioned to help you rotate and move around the sides of the map or to change positions for fights. I actually think they're going to be way more impactful than the acceleration zones in Death Aura. I think Death Aura making it to a, you know, as allowed as a ladder map initially was a really cool way to introduce acceleration zones to the ladder. They're not super impactful. They just change the rush distance a bit. They kind of do it on this map as well, but more so they really do impact the movement of the later game armies. And I think that's really, really cool, because now we're actually maybe going to see some real play, you know, playing around these acceleration zones. That's the big thing about Jagannatha, those acceleration zones. They are pretty large, you know, this is a pretty large map in general. I don't think it's too big with the rush distance because of the acceleration zones. The only problem is, and this is something I didn't really consider so much until I heard Mana mention it on the Pylon show the other day when I was on with him, but the 3rd and 4th bases you can actually take and align through the top side of the map. So you actually play like hardcore top of the map versus hardcore bottom of the map, and that means it is a large map because you never really expand toward each other. And if you never expand toward each other, then it's obviously going to be... the map just plays out to be larger than... not larger than it is, because it is that big, but, you know, say you had to take this to your 4th base, that immediately makes this map much shorter, pushing from here through to here, but that's just not how this plays out. So, very fun, very interesting map. Really excited to see how this one plays as it hits the ladder. Isn't going to be live on the ladder for until next week or so. So this is kind of a bit of an early preparation, a bit of an early sighting as to what's going on these new maps. So enjoy it. Like I say, I guess we're going to get to see a bunch of the new maps if this is the first map that we see today. So should be a pretty fun experience. I think that's my first time casting the new maps. Wow, PartinG escaped out of that one somehow. My first time cast the new map since they were in the Team Liquid map contest. This is 4 gateways, right? To really kick in with this game, this is 4 gateways, and they're going to start blinking Stalkers in. And this is just aggression. He's going to get straight in on top of a siege tank. Bunker wasn't ready, delays it, gets the tank kill, costs him a Stalker, but to already delay the bunker, kill off a siege tank, that is massive. He does lose a second Stalker. That from PartinG is a little bit sloppy. And he loses the Observer. Nice scan from Bunny taking that down, but now there's an empty bunker on the natural. It's a few free SCV kills. And the Stalkers might just stick around and kill the bunker as well. Or no, they're just going to stick around for even more SCVs. A lot of work is going down. The Widowmine drop again being handled well. Doesn't let the probes go down in, high numbers. Just 1 or 2. This time it was 3 instead of 2. But, all the same, still pretty good across the board. I mean, the thing is from Bunny, if you can keep a bit of pressure up and keep on dealing some damage with those Widowmines, then maybe you can come out of this okay, even with taking damage, because PartinG is going to be late to a third base. PartinG is going to be late to his further tech in this game. So in general, PartinG is going to be pretty delayed kind of moving on from this point. So it's all about just trying to hold this off as best you can. Problem is, I mean, he needs to start stim pack up so he can get a little bit of movement onto the map instead of just playing defensively behind these siege tanks. Right now, these siege tanks are the only reason he's really able to defend. The bio units just don't really compete, and until they get stim, they just will not continue. They will continue to not be competitive. So the fact that he isn't starting up stim has me a little bit concerned as PartinG's aggression continues in this natural. That's going to be goodbye command center if he isn't careful. There's just so many Stalkers here. Just saves it. I mean, that's very fortunate from Bunny because it was actually getting extremely low. I thought he might have been able to shoot through it. There's a couple of probes going down yet again. These Widowmines once more being an annoyance. He leaves one behind this time as the medevac is maybe just too low to go and pick it back up, save it, and evacuate it. Charge on the way on the Twilight Council. The stim pack coming up from Bunny in the main, and these Stalkers still trying to press through. Bio taking a little bit of damage here and there. Medevac moves up to the top side of the map. Robo Bay coming through, the charge is coming up, Stim Pack, Combat Shield. All of this continuing into play right now as you've got our bunker. Our War Prism. Just saw some units jumping into the bunker, then we jumped across the map. First game of the day. Apologies, Wardy Brain's just a bit like, huh? StarCraft? We had the day off yesterday. What's this StarCraft thing? So apologies for Wardy Brain, just catching up a little bit. But yeah, I mean, finally we've got those upgrades on the way from Bunny. I mean, no third yet from PartinG, so he's still just on the 2 bases. So in a way, I don't mind it too much for Bunny as these Stalkers make their way across the map. So still just reinforcing this. It's still just masses of Stalkers. At least now there'll be some Zealots to join in. Yeah, but then Bunny's going to be able to fight with, Stim and Combat Shield, so I think he should be okay. The only problem I really see here is that these Zealots hit the main and the Stalkers are annoying at the front. And that little combo could still be annoying to deal with right now because Stim is still half a minute away. So with Stim still being half a minute away, this is maybe PartinG's best chance to get any further damage done until he gets up to the splash damage, the Colossi, and stuff like that. So everything from PartinG just out the front here as we do have the bio. Just kind of chilling around. In the end, PartinG doesn't really make that aggressive play. Now Stim's done. So for me, the scariest part of this is kind of passed on by. As Bunny wants to build a third CC in position as he moves out. The Zealots move in as Bunny moves out. So that's obviously one way to approach this. Can he kill this Prism? Even if he doesn't kill it right away, the fact he's going to get damage onto it so it can't stop to warp in even more Zealots, that's already a win. The Stalk is going to take a chance to come back into the middle and they find a siege tank. And honestly, so far, Bunny is kind of being pulled apart. Forced back, left a siege tank behind. Now he's going to lose a medevac as they boost forward too far. These Stalkers picking up good damage again. At least he got the kill in the Prism, which now clears the way for him to maybe go across the map. So, that's a positive, I suppose, but that's really about it. 4 extra gates going down, a couple of gates in the front, and we've got a lot of... Sorry, I didn't mean to blow into the microphone. I appreciate that. Might not have been pleasant. I was just kind of doing my... I was just trying to think a little bit. I feel like I'm a little afraid for PartinG, right now. No, I'm not actually. I look at this army and I'm actually really not. Only 1 siege tank. If this is 4 or 5 tanks, then actually, yeah, I kind of am. 2 Colossi, they get sieged up in a bad place, and these tanks can actually really control the game. But they are not in a good place right now, and I mean, these Stalkers are continuing to push this back. They're not in a good place, and there's only 2 tanks, so I actually don't even think it's that scary. If Bunny gets a good siege, I'm pretty sure PartinG can still just push on into this without any issues. So, yeah, a little bit, Not really too convinced about Bunny's spot here. He does have his third CC now floating into location, so he can take his own third base. Is that going to be enough? Is that going to help him out at all here? Just going to be seeing the army continue to move up around the top side. Ghost Academy on the way here from Bunny. Again, that Ghost Academy up and running. A couple of Archons coming through, and just going to be seeing Bunny scanning out into the center of the map, actually just keeping an eye on his own units. There's no observer there, though. There is an observer nearby, but it was not on top of the army. I like this position where it really kind of holds the ramps. At least this left side ramp a little bit, and if you come around this right side, you might kind of... Yeah, you probably run into tank fire pretty early. It's actually a pretty strong tank spot. It's just... It's not doing anything for you. It's just leaving you out in the middle of the map. Now he on sieges. He has the acceleration zone to help him go home. Bunny actually takes the forward third base, and actually PartinG takes the forward base as his fourth as well. He doesn't go for that top versus bottom style we sort of discussed earlier. As here we go. I mean, Colossi just fight into this. The tanks were not ready. They were not sieged up, and I mean, the first ghosts are out here, and we're going to be seeing some Colossi getting some damage. I mean, we just need a bit more tech from Bunny, and I feel like kind of the issue has just been that little bit behind all game long. It's been difficult for him to afford Vikings to good numbers or tanks to proper amount of numbers. Slash, some of the fights have been kind of sloppy. I mean, he's actually lost 6 tanks this game. Like, when did that even happen? Like, I know he lost one at the start, he lost one just out over here, and maybe another one there. But when did he lose 6? Like, he had just lost 2 or 3 right now. The fact he's lost 6 siege tanks, if he has all of these still alive, the difference in what PartinG can do right now is crazy. And I think that would just straight up stop PartinG from attacking in. Versus now, he's still possibly going to be able to make this fight happen. He's 1-1 upgrades against 0-0. Bunny extremely late to start in a +1 attack upgrade. And I mean, again, just goes back to show you the position that he's been in throughout this entire time. It's just been playing from behind, and that's why he can't afford attack armor upgrades as well as all of that, you know, ghost Viking production that we're so used to seeing. PartinG want to come back around. The Zealots are going to go charging into the natural expansion where they'll maybe find a few more SCVs. I mean, at the same time, the Prism's going to hit the main base, and Bunny now has to split his units back, while also probably defending an attack at the front. So these Zealots are just going to be absolutely everywhere. He deals with the natural. The main base is the next point of target. He is going to get the warp in before the Vikings shut down the Prism. He's scanning on top of the main army. He knows it's going to be making a move forward, and is moving forward now. Backs away from the tanks that are still left there. But man, the Ghost Academy goes down. These Zealots are actually just... The Zealots are just killing the bio. I mean, remember they're 1-1 against 0-0, so they are extremely good anyway. Well, these Zealots will get taken down, but realistically, PartinG is still in a fantastic spot. He got so much with this 20 SCVs. He sliced through a lot of bio units as well. And looks like Bunny's just going to pull the boys and go and fight this, but then he's going to find this army in the middle. Good EMP is the only problem I have is those units can start to regenerate, maybe. As the Vikings coming through, the Colossi taking a lot of damage. I mean, this looks more hopeful than I expected it to, but oh my god, the Disruptors show up, and Bunny was not ready for Disruptors. I wasn't really ready for Disruptors. That was a shock to me as well. Well, that just slowed Bunny down, and that just took any chance Bunny had away from the, you know, being on the table. That was a bit of a brutal way to end things. GG's called, and PartinG takes map number 1 of what is a best of 5 series, just as a reminder, as we set ourselves up for game number 2. And in the bottom left-hand side to kick things off is our red Terran player who's down a map in the red. This is Bunny. Up against the blue Protoss player in the top right-hand side from Dragon, Phoenix Gaming, it's PartinG. I'm actually worth mentioning Bunny on the new team, Team NV. I actually read a translated interview with their manager, talking about how they're excited to be starting up a StarCraft 2 team. They have Bunny, Nightmare, and Spear, if I'm not mistaken, so some kind of lower tier Korean players, which is really exciting, actually. Obviously, Nightmare has some hype around him as of late. So yeah, really kind of cool, kind of cool new team. Let's see these new teams still popping up over in Korea. So the other thing I have to mention as we go into game number 2 here is look at the map. It's Oxide. This was the most vetoed map of the Team Liquid map contest tournament when it was in the TLMC. And when I say most vetoed, I mean basically it was so heavily vetoed. I guess I need to explain. So the TLMC has like 16 maps in it, right? And we run a tournament with these 16 maps. So each series you're given like a list of maps, and you're then meant to play on, you're given like a list of like 5 maps, for example, for a best of 3, and each player gets 1 veto. Oxide, and basically that means that as the matches go on, I can see, oh, this map's not being played yet. We can put it in more map pools, so we can maybe get it figured out, right? We can get it played. Oxide was vetoed so much, we actually had to force it into the semifinals and finals. And even then, it was, I think, the least played map of the tournament. And it was pretty much in every single series map order. It just got vetoed a lot. People did not like it. People really did not like it. As we get this game started, I do have to say thank you very much. A couple of shouts to make. I messed up because I didn't have my dashboard open. So apologies for that. But thank you so much to, first of all, the 500 bits coming in from the wonderful Rosetown Rugger. Thank you so much for the 500 bits. And thank you so much, Zalba Garden. Also gift now to sub to Firefoxies. Thank you so much for the support, guys. You guys can both be joint sponsors of the stream today. We have to buy these replays. They were $5, so I will take the sub and the $5. And I'll say it's like you're sponsoring the stream and more. Like, heroes of the stream. How about that? Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. And welcome, Firefoxies, to the Wardy family. Alright, game number 2, and really just setting up here. Sentry pretty early from PartinG, though. I always find the Sentry openings early in the PvT very funky. Obviously, you can get a hallucination out for some good bit of scouting, but a lot of the time you just bypass that scouting because you're ending up on Stalkers anyway and you're going to be safe enough. Oh no, my god. PartinG's first Adept comes in and gets a kill already once again. I mean, it's not as bad as last time. Last time he actually did, we didn't talk about it much because we were obviously talking about the map, the players a little bit. But last time we actually started off with this Adept. It got like 2 SCVs, a massive delay on the command center. It was not a good time to be Bunny. Not a fun start to the game at all. Hallucination going to go down to the bottom left-hand side into the main base right here and just going to scout straight through. You'll see these SCVs continue to mine. I mean, again, just a fake out. It's just the hallucination, so just trying to scare Bunny a little bit. It's a great scout, though, because there's that armory, and I mentioned in Game 1, Bunny's a pretty big fan of these cloaked Widow Mines. And PartinG's figured that out pretty much right away. It's Drilling Claws as well. We'll see if that's a commitment to Drilling Claws, if he's going to cancel it once he kills this hallucination, just to try and sell the idea of it being something it isn't. The problem is, Drilling Claws is not exactly, like, you don't prepare for the Drilling Claws, you prepare for the Cloaked Mines. Drilling Claws makes it more likely you could get damage done and catch PartinG off guard. But, it doesn't really work as a fake, because PartinG needs to be kind of aware of those Widow Mines anyway. So, like, being more aware of them, like, it doesn't really do anything as a fake out, you know? Unless you really change your plan away from Widow Mines, you start building like a Thor and you go for a Thor rush. And I only mention this because Bunny has done that in TVP in the War Chest Team League a couple months ago. So just, yeah, just going to stick to the Widow Mines this time. Drilling Claws as well. And we'll see if these Widow Mine drops can find some early damage in the game. In these early minutes here, as we do see the medevac coming up to the top side. A couple of Widow Mines in it. To go and drop up to the top, see what they can get done, as we do have the medevac coming through. He gets to see the third Nexus right away. Bowling finishes up, and we do just have Drilling Claws about to complete here from Bunny. That Widow Mine going to be done in just a few moments as well. So a couple of Widow Mines continuing through and trying to figure out where they want to drop in. Nowhere exciting just yet as the next 2 Widow Mines set up. I mean, this is where it gets scary, right? Where you can kind of multi-prong these Widow Mines. 2 in the main, 2 in the natural, something like that. And you have to look in multiple places, and at the very least, you're likely to get some good mining denial, but gotta love the cannon detection given. Just damage output onto those mines from the second they drop down. I'm a massive fan of the cannons and the mineral lines. I think that's a really good adjustment from PartinG. Recognizing early what's going on because of the good scout with the hallucination. And now he shuts down the medevac. What an opening from PartinG, from the hallucination onwards. The hallucination alone was already a pretty big deal. These Widow Mines do get burrowed though in PartinG. That's the power of the Drilling Claws. He's actually going to get 9 kills. Oh, he probably could have saved both those Widow Mines if he picked them up in different order. A little bit unfortunate. He does lose a second medevac though. That's 2 more Widow Mines that went down in this, I believe. So There's a lot of Widow Mines going down, a lot of Medivacs dead. The counterattack's always scary here, and PartinG knows it, and that's why he's gone up to 6 gateways with +1 soon to finish. Blinks one Stalker up, doesn't get the lift into the Warp Prism like he was maybe hoping to. I mean, this bunker's not done just yet. The Bayon's going to start fighting into this, but they're fighting without stim, and there's a lot of SCVs going down, so PartinG making up for the earlier damage taken. 15, 16 workers down, and he ain't done yet. He's going to get past 20. As some Widow Mines continue to come into play. Apparently can't see that one, the Observer out of range, but yeah, maybe he actually can see it. It's just he didn't want to target it with everything else going on. He loses a few Stalkers in the end, but he comes out in such a strong position. Bunny is set down 13 workers, and just imagine PartinG didn't lose any of these probes that he's been losing to this Widow Mine in particular. This one has 9 kills. If he hadn't been losing any of those, it'd be a very different game, as the Widow Mine will just be safe, but now it's very low HP, so you got to be very careful. He kills the bunker at the front. PartinG Stalkers will continue to push on through. A few of these Stalkers lifting up, continue to pull back. SCVs, bio units continue to chase down the ramp here, and the Stalkers get pushed back to the middle of the map. Another round of sentries, another Stalker being warped in. Still trying to compete. The Widow Mine gets on the high. It's such a really cute position. High ground hits the low ground. It's going to stay there for a bit longer. Nice dodge of this Widow Mine shot. Good blink back. The Stalker goes down in the end. And a couple more Widow Mine shots going off. I think PartinG really believes he just has enough to end this game right here and now. I mean, there's only really these 3 Marauders remaining in this fight. Obviously, if the Widow Mines get to come off cooldown, they're going to be playing another role. But, man, 20 more workers killed, and suddenly you're fighting off 16 SCVs as Bunny. That is not really the economy you want to work. There's a minefield to push through, though, and I think he needs an Observer before he can really keep on pushing into this. He is actually going to recall home. This Widow Mine found another 5 probes, by the way. Now on 19 kills, this one Widow Mine has probably made the entirety of Bunny's opener worthwhile. If only he hadn't lost so much back at home. If only he hadn't lost all the Medivacs, right? If he'd kept a couple Medivacs alive and was able to actually get these other Widow Mines drops off, he might have just slowed down PartinG's income enough to make this work out. But yeah, obviously PartinG did shut down 2 Medivacs before the mines dropped, and that's obviously a huge deal right from the start. There's going to be seen Stalkers of PartinG continuing down to the bottom left-hand side. Widow Mines on the right, going to go boosting into the main base in just a second, and going to boost straight in. Widow Mines going to burrow up. A bunch of probes are going to go down. That's 8 workers killed. So 8 workers get taken down immediately as the few extra Stalkers just warping in the back from PartinG. They're going to come through and just going to try for the Medivac. Two Medivacs of Bunny up the right-hand side, going to go for a big push into this main base. Brutal. PartinG's going to find these 2 Medivacs. I mean, you get an Observer, but the Stalkers are close enough to blink for the kills. Boost on cooldown and 2 dead Medivacs full of units. This game is falling apart a little bit for Bunny. I mean, the early damage done was just crazy. I'm impressed he got back up to 41 SCVs, and hey, if he didn't lose those 2 Medivacs, his army composition would have been, or his army supply would have been at least comparable, like at least somewhat competitive. CT showing up, and they go into the main base and going to get a few SCVs, and this is just not going to be the greatest of games. The Widow Mines go off on most of the Stalkers. GG is called, and PartinG takes a pretty dominant game. Number 2 looks good in doing so, and he takes a 2-0 lead in this best of 5, going up the 2-0. Looking great so far. In the top left-hand side, we have got the Blue Protoss player from Dragon Phoenix Gaming. This up 2-0 on match point already is PartinG. And in the bottom right-hand side, our red Terran player is Team Envy's Bunny. So yeah, obviously we talked a bit about Bunny so far, and he's kind of shown us the kind of things that Bunny likes to do, you know? Very typical sort of mine drop with an armory. Again, to me, this is just Bunny through and through. Like, it's really not all that surprising. So excited to see what he really kind of comes out with in the end. Definitely feel as though he can maybe bring this back a little bit. I know he's down 0-2. You know what? PartinG's going to do that Partin thing, though, where he's just not going to let Bunny play his game. He's going to proxy the gate in the natural. We're on Death Aura, so we're finally off the new maps and into one of the older maps. So it must be like a map pool where... kind of interesting that if they've got these other maps available, though, that we play the new maps, that they still pick to play the new maps first. So that's interesting. But yeah, a map we're familiar with, and PartinG, I think, most famously did this proxy gate in the natural against Maru in the War Chest Team League. And we're seeing it once again right here, right now, in the in this little Alpha X event. Somebody did this the other day on Death Aura as well when we were casting. Somebody that was not PartinG. I can't remember who that was now. But it was pretty... it was also pretty fun to watch. Yeah, I really can't remember who that was. But I remember it because I remember mentioning it was like, you know, something that PartinG did against Mario on this map. Yeah, anyways, onward we go. And just looking to see where we get to as we kind of follow a probe back home a little bit. I mean, the first Zealot already on the way out. The expansion down here, and Bunny's just got no idea. Now, the good news is his Reaper just popped out, so the Reaper can make a move forward right now and come in to at least try and fight this Zealot, and it's something at least that should be able to keep this at bay. It does slow this down, but of course, already you're forced to cancel on this natural expansion, which is a pretty big deal. Couple Zealots up that ramp. Only one Marine behind the ramp, so... Oh, behind the wall, so not much there. And the SCV actually gets across the map. We'll probably look to bunker up here with the Reaper going across as well. It's a pretty big deal, actually. There's a lot to be done there. That's actually massive. Yeah, that's actually really, really sick. A bunker coming up, and I mean, we've also got this Reaper obviously being a bit annoying. The shield battery comes down for this exact reason, to be able to force this Reaper to not actually get any kills. Stalker still has to recall home though, but then the bunker comes up and you can't mine off the natural. I really like this so far for Bunny, actually. Like, I know it's obviously not ideal. He had to cancel on the sheet. Don't tell me the SCV goes down. Okay, he just gets the SCV to finish up that bunker, and that's obviously pretty essential. I don't really need to explain that one, right? As Reaper gets to work. Twilight cancel on the way from PartinG. I mean, it'd be surprising if he didn't continue with the Blink Stalkers here with the way he's been playing so far. So yeah, into Blink Stalkers, obviously he really likes that. Back at home, Bunny is getting that expansion down. It's just going to be high ground for the moment, so has to wait a few moments before you can move it elsewhere. And then it is just going to be this dance between the Reaper, the Stalker, and the bunker to continue on, basically. So it's back and forth continuing, and in the end, the bunker will just take too much damage, will go down. Didn't actually have to put a low ground... shield battery down, which I think is really nice. Usually that's something you do have to invest into. So having, being able to skip, that's actually a pretty big deal. I like that a lot for Bunny. It's definitely a bit of an advantage that you wouldn't usually get in these scenarios, I don't think. So yeah, I think you'll be pretty happy with how that plays out. As the Marines here taking down this gateway and finally clearing out the natural that was obviously so very troubling to him a little bit earlier on. So after all of these shenanigans, we get into a game where PartinG a few workers ahead, and you could maybe argue a few more workers ahead than you usually should be, but overall I think he's pretty okay with where everybody is at. I think this is a perfectly fine situation to play out from, and yeah, feeling good for either player to continue through. Obviously PartinG up 2-0 in this series still looking pretty good across the board to maybe take this down, but we really are, cheering for that Bunny comeback. We don't want this to just be a 3-0, although there is a catch on a Liberator. I tell you what, PartinG is just really good at kind of map control in this series. Map control through and through, catching Medifats, putting on pressure with his Stalkers, shutting down drops, shutting down his Liberator. He's really taken away a lot of the aggressive options that Bunny is trying to use to get into an advantage into the mid-game. He's just shutting them down early. I mean, he's shutting them down so hard that the investment is completely wasted, and as the investment is completely wasted, it just isn't going anywhere. You know, it's just, you know, Bunny's just getting further and further behind before the game even really goes anywhere. So yeah, 45 to 37 workers at the moment. Question in the chat, how is Partin up 6 probes after that opening? Well, I mean, he forces a cancel on the natural, and you expand yourself off. You know, it was just a 1-gate expand from Partin, essentially. So his expansion still comes in at the same time as usual. Just obviously his opponent's is then delayed. So, yeah, the thing is, you got to realize that, you know, this amount of workers is kind of a normal amount for us to be ahead because Terran does have mules. Look at the income, it's been a little Partin favor, but not drastically so. It's not like Partin's running away with the game, so I think it's okay overall here for Bunny. I don't think he's overly concerned just yet about how this is playing out. Because, yeah, it's still an investment from Partin, and he does have to do stuff like build a shield battery back at home. But yeah, I don't think it's too surprising that he comes out ahead on workers. Yeah, we're about even, honestly, I think, in the worker count. As long as the Protoss isn't, like, over 10 workers ahead, you're generally kind of, you know, saying that this is okay as the Terran player. As Bunny does bring his tanks forward, so he's already trying to edge through to a position that he can use his, or take his third base in. Wow, those tanks get some big kills. They actually just shoot down all those Stalkers. A couple of them staying in range. They made a blink forward to try and get the Raven, but almost a bait from Bunny, and it actually worked really well. It actually went really, really, really well for him there. So that was great, as we do now have the Bio Army coming out the front just a little bit here and just looking to try and scare those few Stalkers off. Yeah, just looking to keep that back and, well, USCV is getting killed. You can see how Zealots in the main base having a little move around, see what they can get up to. I mean, Partin's so good with these Zealots. You saw him moving in with them in the earlier games exactly when, you know, Bunny is moving out, just being extremely frustrating with them. Bio Army out into the center of the map. Stalkers, Zealots, the Colossus Wolf is moving into the middle. Bio going to make a bit of a stim through. Zealot taking some damage, but Raven coming in to drop an anti-armor missile. And dropping interference medics now as well, which allows him to give chase with one of the Colossi not firing. That other Colossus so low, but still alive. Bunny's attack scary. These tanks get into a position, it can be very tough for these Colossi to displace them. I want to see these tanks sieging up like along here. You know, nice aggressive siege up. I actually think this has got a bit of hope to it. That's the first Colossus right away. That's a lot of Zealots is the only real problem, isn't it? The tanks get Colossi number 2. The Zealots really did a lot of damage though. And there's still one Zealot just picking its way through siege tanks. Yeah, that is hurting. That's hurting a lot. And it's going to be what forces Bunny back. So even though he gets 2 Colossi, he ends up having to go home. Not much he can continue forward with. He just didn't quite have the numbers to deal with those Zealots. And it's a lot to do with how much those Colossi were able to do initially as well. Doing a lot of damage to this army before it got across the map. Oh, Prism is going to go over to the corner. It's going to be hanging out over there and, well, Viking is just going to be able to shut it down, push it away. And that is more or less where we stand at the moment. Just waiting for the next step of this, as Bunny has to play defensively. I mean, he's gone his way to a Ghost Academy, second starport 2, so he's starting to get that tech up. But again, look at the upgrades. He starts his +1 attack so late in the game. It's so abnormal for a Terran player to be doing that, and so he's so reliant on these early game pushes. It's kind of surprising how reliant he is on these early game pushes. As the army back around the left-hand side, just going to see the Zealot able to swipe a Marine down. A couple of Zealots being picked off. I mean, at least Bunny's on the map and trying to be a bit aggressive, and he's going to shut down the Warp Prism play, so he is going to deny the continued harassment of PartinG. The problem is PartinG's now up to 4 bases, and there's nothing Bunny can really do about it. Position of units is good. PartinG's going to stop the drops getting in anyway. He's taking the 5th base, so PartinG is just, you know, loving his life at the moment. He is just full of confidence in his current position. Absolutely loving it as the Bio Army comes back home. Spy joins up, going over the left-hand side. Gonna get a Zealot kill. It's gonna kick this off as well. So picks off a Zealot, the rest of the Stalker and Colossi. Down the left side, Disruptors join up as well. Vikings Bio gonna start pushing in. I mean, the army's a bit better here from Bunny, but he still needs a way to deal with these Disruptors. He doesn't have that many ghosts, and he just lost one of them, so his EMP count is limited, and he gets the Colossi, but that's what the Disruptors are so good at, you know, still saving this position. Zealots charge around the wall off and get into this mineral line. A lot of SCVs already starting to go down. 7 workers killed as Zealots and Sentries start to run on in. Shield batteries coming up here as well. The Disruptors may be thinking about firing a shot or 2 forward into this. It's just going to grab a Marauder and a Marine. Another Disruptor going to grab the Vikings. And man, there's DTs now in the natural expansion as well, so they're just going to start putting the damage up also. Another Disruptor shot coming in. Probes going through the top side. Just going to see our Prism setting up over on the right. A couple of extra Disruptors still building up. And our Bio Army going to get rid of this Nexus. So the Nexus will go down. So many SCVs have died though. 48 workers. The 3rd base mineral line, the natural mineral line have just been gutted. I mean, what's left is like the main base and like a couple SCVs here or there. It's really not that many. And that's where Bunny's going to fall apart. He just does not have the economy to continue in this game. Not in the slightest. Disruptor shots that just don't connect on anything. The Liberators do get set up, and that may be the scariest part of all of this, but PartinG can take it his time. He can give up a base. You know, he's got other mining bases compared to what Bunny has. He can afford to lose a base, and now he's going to clear the Bio back, which maybe gives the Stalkers a chance to get the Libs. He won't take that opportunity just yet. Couple more Disruptor shots going through. Doesn't quite connect on the Bio Force Stalkers. Coming in, we'll get the Libs now. Took a little while, a little bit sloppy from PartinG. And his medevacs are just drained of energy, so this Bio Army isn't going to get healthy again. And his PartinG is just going to continue through. His Zealots and DTs continuing forward. And, well, another Disruptor shot. Bio continuing to get cleaned up. And PartinG just has the numbers to take it down. It's going to be 3-0 for PartinG. In this best of 5, I mean, honestly, he just looked dominant. He looked really, really good, really convincing. Wasn't really even that much of a question about it, was it? Just PartinG through and through, the better player in this series. 3-0 takes down Bunny, and he goes to the finals to play TY or Ragnarok.